Now we're going to go over a different form of an equation of a line, and that is called point slope. So this says that the equation of a line with still a slope of m, which is right here, that passes through a known point x1, y1, right here and right here, is this right here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So for my students that are taking this class on campus, this would be a great note card formula right here. And just like before, why do they call this formula slope-intercept form? Because what are you inputting, or what does it give you? It gives you the slope and the y-intercept. Why do they call this point slope form? Because you are putting in a point and your slope. So these are not creative names for these equations of a line. It's exactly what you're putting into that formula. So a very basic example of how to use this. Write the equation of a line that passes through the point -2, 10, and has a slope of 1/2. So if we label everything, this is my x1, y1, and this is my m. So we have y minus y1. So y minus my y1 is 10. Equals my slope of 1/2. And actually I wanted that in blue. So let me put this in blue. Slope of 1/2. So 1/2 times x minus my x1 is a -2. So minus from this formula, minus a -2 becomes a +2. Okay, so this y and this x don't get substituted in for. It's the x1, y1, and the slope. So now let's put this into slope-intercept form. It's going to be the same 2 steps every single time. First thing I'm going to do is distribute in that slope. So y minus 10 equals 1/2 x. 1/2 times 2 is 1. Right, if you have 2 halves, that makes a whole, or use your calculator. 1 divided by 2 times 2 gives us 1. And now get y by itself. So you're going to add or subtract this over. In this case, we're going to add it over. And so we get y equals 1/2 x plus 11. So now I have a slope still of 1/2, which is true. And now we found that the y-intercept is 11. Let's try a similar question on B. Excuse me, on 5. I don't know where B came from. Okay. The following table shows the total cost in dollars for a construction crew to rent a trench digger in days. What is the rate of change in cost per day? So actually, we didn't write this formula on the front. Forgot we needed it. But we're going to use the change in y over the change in x. So that's delta y over delta x. So what is my delta y? Well, how am I going from 180 to 220? We are adding 40. And is that consistent from 220 to 260? That is adding another 40. And from 260 to 300, that is adding 40. So my delta y is 40 over my delta x. So what is my delta x? How am I going from 1 to 5, 5 to 6, and 6 to 7? Those are all adding 1. So we get 40. So what is the rate of change in cost per day? That means we have $40 per day. Okay, Part B wants to know, what is the equation that models total cost to rent the trench digger as a function of x, where x is in the number of days? So what I don't have a y-intercept. If I had a y-intercept, I could see for the number of days 0 and what that cost. So I don't know what it is to rent it 0 days, what my y-intercept is, how much it costs just to rent it. So what we need to do is use that point slope formula. So if I rewrite that, we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I just found my m. My m here is 40. So now I need a point. Well, I have 4 different points to choose from here. I could use 4, 180, 5, 220, 6, 260, or 7, 300. Does not matter which point you want to use, you get the same answer no matter what. So I personally like smaller numbers, so I'm going to use this very first one here. So this is my x1, and this is my y1. So let's put those in for our x1, y1 here. So I have y minus, my y1 is 180, equals my slope of 40 times x minus x1, which is 4. Okay, so same 2 steps every time. We're going to distribute in that slope first. So I get y minus 180 equals 40x minus 160. And then last step, I'm going to kind of squeeze this in here, is to add our 180 over. And so we get y equals 40x. That's a really bad 40x. Negative 160 plus 80 is 20. So this is my equation that models the total cost for the trench digger as a function of x, where x is in the number of days. So it costs $20 just simply to rent it. And then we will be charged $40 for every day.